So, welcome to podcast number 5 from blah, 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 blah. Start again. Okay, so that'll be an outtake, it's fine. Okay, so welcome to Co-op Couch podcast number 5. This week we're going to try something slightly different. We're going to have some gameplay running in the background for you guys to enjoy. I'm Russ from Rec Media, and we're here with Phil, the other half of Rec Media.
Hey.
And John from Degenerate Gamers.
Hello.
Cool, so let's get in these things and let's get going. We've got a couple of topics we're going to talk about this week. The first topic is something I've touched upon in my live stream from last week, and it's about how games, since the dawn of video games, have got massively easier. And I just sort of wonder if we're ever going to get to a point where they hit that stage again of being super hard sort of arcade games in which once you've failed, that's it, you have to start from the very beginning. Obviously we still have those games, but whether that's going to be the core that all games base themselves around, but we'll get onto that. John, you had a topic that you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, one of my subscribers on a stream that I did in the week, basically, he's interested in finding out whether a sequel, a badly placed sequel, could make the original game a lot less attractive. I said that we'd have a think about it, put it to the jury, so to speak, and see what we could come up with.
Cool. So to start off with then, I guess we'll sort of get into a discussion before we get too distracted. And it's about how games are easier. I guess a good way to sort of lead into that is the question of what's the hardest game you guys think you've ever played? What would you say is the hardest game?
Super Star Wars.
Yeah.
Super Star Wars. Yeah, that is the hardest game I've ever played in my life.
And what sort of genre is that? I mean, I haven't played it.
It's a platformer. It came out on the Game Boy.
Right. Okay. So pretty old.
It's an old school game. It's just like, it was so unforgiving that you just it was like if you died, you get like reset back at the start. There's no, your extra life started you from the start pretty much.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's a long time since I played it, but I don't even think it was continued or anything. I think once you've dicked all your lives, that was the end of it.
Right. What about you, Phil?
I'm struggling to think. I'm hesitant to just jump straight to Dark Souls or something like that.
Yeah.
But they do definitely spring to mind. But I'm trying to think back to like the Mega Drive days, like friggin' Shinobi game and stuff like that.
So I think the point is, it's like, what's the hardest game you ever played sort of to complete? Because there's games like Dark Souls and that which are difficult, but you just got to stick at it and you do complete them. It's not too bad. I think. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say games like Sonic back in the day, where like, Sonic's not exactly a difficult game, but if you fuck up, you've got to start again.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're never really making progress with it until you do it.
So
it's more like the inconvenience of losing rather than the unskilled,
Yeah.
Starting to get, like, nowadays you wouldn't start again. I mean,
no.
If a game did, it's got to be a pretty dire game these days if you forget to save and you have to go back 4 hours. Everything's on auto save.
Yeah.
Like, the last game I think did that was probably fucking Dead Rising.
Yeah. In fact, I got caught out on Dead Rising 2 a couple of times, where I just got carried away, and then, as you say, I'd sort of lost hours worth of progress.
Yeah, you just go, nah, do you know what? I'm just going to play something else.
Yeah, and that's it. So
old games weren't like that at all.
Check Phil out.
You only had a few anyway, so it's...
damn it! That definitely isn't where my pod was supposed to land.
No, bear.
Well, John just got himself a free walker.
Oh, what? I didn't realise what it was.
Yeah, you should have one as well. We got that on the last time we
Oh, yeah.
thingied, yeah. I don't know if you've got it on your L1 or not.
No, I don't think I equipped it.
No, fair enough. But yeah, so I thought John had dropped his in as well, and Phil was going to feel left out. And just as I was saying it, mine landed on my head. So, okay, so yes, I mean, going back to the old games, I think for me, one of the games that we perhaps played the most as a child and never finished and used to get the most annoyed about not being able to finish it because we ran out of time or something.
Cheers, John.
Can you remember that Mickey Mouse game, Phil?
Oh,
On the Mega, I think it was on the Mega Drive.
I bought
Was it
Russ
Cas-
back in and he landed on you.
Was it Castle of Illusion or World of Illusion?
I can't remember, but it was it. We used to get really far in it, and we'd always run out of time
Yeah.
and
It's
not
one
be
of those
able to
games
play
I
it.
remember about every now and again, and I can't remember if I just dreamt it or it was actually a game that existed.
Yeah, it was definitely a
It's
game.
just so
and-
far back in my memory of my childhood. Like,
What makes you feel that games are easier these days?
So, I mean, there's a couple of things we've already mentioned which I think make them easier, and it's things like autosaves. And, I mean, just playing Wolfenstein the other day, I've noticed Wolfenstein does have a little bit of lock on, but it's so unforgiving. And I know I'm playing it on the hardest difficulty, but I still find that the hardest, absolute hardest difficulty of a game nowadays is probably what all shooters used to be like. You know, and obviously going back to the Doom days and that sort of thing, they were probably inherently more difficult because there was a lack of controls that were usable. And, you know, obviously a lot of SPS games, you could only aim left and right, not up and down. And obviously now you can do a lot more of that. It gets easier. But I think, as we mentioned just then, the fact that you can auto-save now, so you don't have to worry about losing progress. I'm going to try this section of the game 100 times and then I'll get past it. Yeah. Whereas back in the day, you know, you would play a game, you would die 3 times.
Weren't you?
Yeah, you would die 3 times and then you'd have to start the entire game again. Do you know what I mean? And I think that makes it difficult. Phil, press X.
Dying in a game just doesn't do anything anymore. Like,
exactly,
it's really lost its kind of.
Well, I mean, if you look at Bloodborne, that's set around the fact that you die. You know,
yeah.
Part of the game. You know, I mean, that's quite a far out. That's quite a far out example because it's probably one of the only games it does, other than sort of Darksiders and, you know, and similar sort of games in the genre, but. Yeah, dying doesn't hold the. I mean, it's sort of like die respawn. You know, you die and respawn, and that's it these days. I think it's not.
Yeah. I think the problem is it's the ultimate punishment. You know, and that's why a lot of indie games still use that. So, for example, you've got games like Faster Than Light. I don't know if you ever played that one. No. You have a spaceship and you've basically got to make it across the world sort of map to the far end and beat the big boss before your ship gets destroyed. But you might get halfway across and you already know you're not going to win because you're too far behind. And it's those sort of games capture it really well. And another one, XCOM 2 just came out recently. You could spend 20 hours on an XCOM save, get halfway through to actually winning the overall objective and sort of realise that you've done things wrong, so you'd have to start again. So they've sort of managed to embrace the difficulty of arcade games without punishing you with sort of, okay, you've got 3 lives and then that's it, you've got to start again. They sort of force the player to realise that they've done it wrong and have to start again. Which is part of the challenge, I suppose.
Well, do you feel that now that maybe game companies are thinking, well, okay, maybe people don't want to lose anymore?
Well, and that's it. And I think the big thing is they sort of need to cater to more people now, because gamers used to be the hardcore people that would sit in an arcade for the weekend, spend all their money. And you know what I mean, and they would happily do that. Whereas now, obviously, you get a lot more kids playing, and you get parents spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds on games for their kids, and the last thing they want is their kids coming home or being at home every night shouting and cursing and swearing from their room because the game's too difficult.
Yeah.
So obviously, because gaming's become a lot more universal, the rules around it have to change.
Now they just swear and curse over the internet at actual people.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always said it's you're not playing a yearly released FPS if a 10-year-old American kid hasn't called your mum a prostitute.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Well,
Oh yeah, there's the things will spit fire on you. That'll happen.
Cool.
I just looked up and I was just about to warn you, and you were just like on the floor, like melting away. I'll get you in a sec. So these things look really messed up.
Yeah, the cyborgs, they're quite freakish.
Yeah,
Oh.
have you played
Guard him.
have you played Killing Floor?
No.
Oh, great.
First person sort of zombie horde survival type game, and they remind me of the enemies in that. They're all like weird mutations sort of things. But yeah, so yeah, I mean I guess there's not much to talk about really with that topic, but I just felt that it was something
Oh, for
that's
fuck's
sort of worth a
sake.
discussion. About how games
Yeah.
definitely are easier nowadays, and do you think?
It just seems that you can play now without consequence? And when I say consequence, I mean it doesn't.
No
Sorry, is that you?
consequence, he says,
That was me.
gunning down his friend.
It doesn't. A game, like I said, games don't really penalise you anymore. You know, if you die, you're just going to respawn, or you're just going to drop back in, or if you do happen to die, you lose the mission. And,
Yeah.
So I just keep it annihilated. Then you can just start again from your last autosave. There's
Yeah.
none of this like putting 10 hours into a game, and then losing, and then having to do 10 hours again. It just doesn't. People wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You've also got to remember that the length of games these days has changed.
Yeah.
A game like this, for example, if you had to start all over again, you just wouldn't do it.
No.
Anything that involves a lot of invested time. Mega Drive games are easy. They'd last. There were 2 or 3 hour games maximum. I mean, that's if you got a really good one.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Sonic doesn't last any longer than 2 or 3 hours really.
I think part of it as well will probably come down to the fact that Sega games and whatever, like in our memories, they were solid, but that's because we were so much younger. Like, games
Yeah.
are going to be harder when you're younger, so we remember them probably a lot harder than they actually were.
Yeah. Have we finished this objective now? Yeah, cool. Let's
Yes.
move on then. Okay, so I mean, off the back of that, then, do you guys think that games are going to go back to being that way, and that's going to be what people crave? Like, I guess we've sort of seen it already with a lot of indie games that are difficult and they challenge you. As I mentioned before, you've got games like Faster Than Light and XCOM and that sort of thing. Do you think people are going to want challenging games that force them to start again, or is it
think they're
ever
gonna
going to
want
come
both.
back?
I think if you change, we're so far like removed from that style of gameplay now that's almost like a novelty thing, and that's something that I think only indie games can really provide.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't think you'll ever see a AAA game. I mean, not on a regular basis that would adopt that system. Just because I think it just pisses people off. They're not, the kids that are playing now aren't the same as what we're playing when we were, button mashing on Street Fighter on the Mega Drive, etc., etc.
Yeah.
They're into different things, and they expect different things, and they feel more entitled to other, to pretty much what we've got now.
You got him yet, Bill? You can reload your gun and shoot him.
I know, I was having fun though.
So I think you just picked up my resupply pack, John. I don't really know what it
Oh, is that
does.
what I got?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
on your
I mean,
back now,
just-
and I think we can
Might be-
reload off you. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Cool. So yeah. So I mean, we can go on to our next topic then. We can talk about your. I can't remember what it was now, John.
Yeah.
Sequels. That was it. Sequels.
So
I'm on fire.
I'll set this. I'll set the scene to spin the yarn.
Sure.
Basically, I'm running a Doomsday Friday. It's called, and basically we play games which are sort of dedicated to the downfall of humanity. So the Division. Well, we will be playing the Division, The Last of Us, some of the Resident Evil games, etc., etc. And one of my subscribers who was watching the stream mentioned that we were talking about the possibility of a Last of Us 2, and I mentioned that they're going to have to be incredibly careful about making a Last of Us 2 because it can't be detrimental to the Last of Us 1. So the question was asked: at what point have they gone too far?
Yeah, I mean, you've got quite an interesting.
The last one in this party.
Phil's got an interesting theory about Last of Us and sequels.
Yeah. Well, ever since the first one was ever since I finished the first game and I wanted to carry on playing, I was really upset that it had ended. I was kind of thinking how they could do a sequel, but honestly, I think the best thing they can do is
avoiding spoilers. By the way, I just thought put that there. We won't say. I'm guessing you haven't finished it, John.
What?
The Last of Us.
Well, I mean, I finished it, but my stream hasn't finished.
Right. Okay. Cool. That's fine. Yeah, we'll avoid any spoilers.
Well, all I'm saying is they just need to forget about the Joel and Ellie's storyline.
Yeah.
And just go with some completely new characters, a whole different set of characters, and a whole new storyline, just in the same universe. And I think it works so well. Like they could, I think they've already built enough of that world is just so cool. And the idea of the zombies, and how zombies, the infected, whatever the fuck they call it in that game, I can't remember. But I was saying from the offset that they really should do a sequel, but they should just show a whole different side of that universe almost. And I'm pretty sure not long after I had said that to Russ, they actually there was a guy who was talking about were discussing doing exactly that. That was a while ago, so I don't know if anything's come of it yet. But I'd like the idea that they would bring out a new one. If I can that
would separate the issue that we're discussing as well. If it was a completely unrelated, even if it was a related story but an unrelated, or a new set of characters,
it could have some of the same characters in it, like Bill or whatever his name is, and just kind of to.
See, we discussed
keep it familiar.
We discussed the possibility of more about Joel and Tommy and what they did after the initial outbreak. Those years, those 20 years. But and that could be an incredible story. I mean, they could even potentially build a story in that does include Ellie, and then sort of have more flashbacks to what Joel and Tommy did, and so it's a bit of a mix, a mixed bag, rather than just another story about Joel and Ellie. Although I would play it and I'd love it to bits, I know that for a fact. But the idea of making something that makes the original not as good by sort of guilty by association, and I can think of a few games that do that. Personally, I feel that the Assassin's Creed franchise should have ended a long time ago. I think it's got to the point now where there's that many out, and they're not really bringing anything new to the table at the minute. That it's detracting from the greatness of the original games when they came out. One and two to be specific.
The same can be said for Call of Duty or any game that's a similar kind of setup for how they release them, where when they're spamming them out every year, they do tend to ruin what the original games managed to accomplish by just throwing it in your face over and over and over again.
Yeah, and I can see why a lot of people can feel like it's just a bit of a cash grab. It's like they just. Well, I mean, the thing is though, these games take a long time to make, so you can't really call a cash. You can't really call a cash grab something that's taken 4 years to make. That's not a cash grab, but it can certainly feel that way.
Yeah, I think that we sort of have to make a clear difference between an annually released game and a sequel. I
Yes.
think an annually released game sort of comes under a whole different bracket because it's treated in a very different way. You know, it's expected, whereas something like Last of Us 2 or another Last of Us game would be something completely separate. It would that's not a guarantee. We don't know if that's going to happen. We don't know what they've got planned for that universe. Whereas
Do you know what you can tell just by the E3 announcements. You know, when the next Assassin's Creed gets announced at E3, people are going to go, okay, that's cool. But
Yeah.
as soon as an announcement trailer comes out for The Last of Us 2, people will be on the feet.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
People will be
Yeah.
cheering, a whooping and a hollering.
Yeah, it's like Fallout 4. You know, people expected it, but there was still that uncertainty. They didn't know. I mean, Bethesda obviously made it quite clear it was coming, but people didn't know. Whereas
No.
next year they announced Call of Duty Modern Warfare and a half 10 turbo or something, and it's like
Turbo.
turbocharged 2x or whatever. Yeah, like people will be surprised if they don't say there's going to be one. I mean, it made headline
Yeah.
news that there wasn't going to be an Assassin's Creed game this year
Yeah.
of the main series, because there was one out that week that they said that, but
There's like the platformer one. That doesn't really count, though. I don't think.
no. To be honest, they look way more interesting to me. They look really cool.
I think it's just because it's been so just done to death. But I mean,
Yeah.
can you even remember playing the first Assassin's Creed? I mean, I remember buying it on day one, and it was like a whole new. It was like so brilliant, perfect. You know, even
Yeah.
though it's been refined over the years, that first game was so good.
I really enjoyed the first one. I got it pre-owned a little while after it came out, and I can remember. Obviously, it has its problems. It's quite repetitive, but once you hit, oh yeah, it's fire there. Once you hit that sort of last third of the game, it's brilliant. You know, and it's really good fun.
Yeah. Once things start becoming a bit more apparent, yeah.
Right, I'm just going to chuck down some ammo. Oh, can someone throw some ammo down? Phil, I need you to throw an ammo pack if you can.
I don't know how.
Never mind, it's not the end of the world. I need you to pick me up if you can.
Okay, I threw something down. Man, I'm dead. But yeah, I think with sequels that, like, again, this is one of the things that I've said quite a few times to Russ. He probably knows what I'm going to say already. Is two's the magic number. Like, whenever you get a game and you get like a good format for something, it works really well. Every time, like in my opinion, like it'll be amazing, and then they'll make a second one where they improve on it, and they get it like they just take it a little bit further, and they really just hit the sweet spot. And then they'll make the third one
Half-Life is a
where
good,
they
is a good.
destroy it.
Yeah,
They
and
just
maybe that's what the
completely ruin
devs
it.
think about Half-Life.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the other thing, Valve, they only ever count to two.
Yeah.
They've never released a third game of anything. And I think that's why. They know, they're onto it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's one of those things that a lot of the time you make a second one because the first one probably wasn't quite what you wanted, or the funds and the sort of the money you make from the first one allows you to make a second one. But then that's when you hit the slippery slope, because your second one then gets you more money, in which you make a third one, and by that point you might have exhausted your original idea and you're sort of just hitting you're sort of following the trend then, and you're just making another version of your game. You know, and I think a prime example of that is Uncharted. You know, and they made the third game, and the third one really didn't offer anything that the second one and the first one didn't.
No.
So
Just a continuation of the story rather than.
yeah, and it came out because people expected it, because people wanted it. I mean, I'm sure they wanted to make it, but I think I mean, to answer the sort of question is, when is a sequel worth doing? I think it's when the devs want to make it and not when the people want one. because people always
Yeah.
want video games.
I think what video games they want is what is always subject to change.
Yeah. Yeah, and people don't necessarily know what they want. You know, everyone says,
No.
I want this, I want that, I want that. And then when it comes out, they're probably like, yeah, I'll play it in like 6
Shit.
months' time. Do you know, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those things. And I do worry a little bit for Uncharted 4 because
Oh,
of.
come on. Every time.
Thanks for the
I
pack.
was nowhere near that.
I guess we should get you up.
They look fun.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. So just sidetrack for a sec, John. Do you think these are really overpowered? These
Yeah,
suits?
completely.
Yeah. I mean, they do go down pretty well. Like, as in they get destroyed quite easy. But you sort of are able to keep them away from you fairly well. I think they need to sort of sort out the minigun needs to have a cooldown on it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Why can't you
definitely.
just fire it forever?
Yeah, yeah,
No,
pretty
no,
much.
I've run out of ammo now.
Oh, there is ammo,
Oh,
right?
okay, so there's ammo.
Cool. Do you want to grab Phil back? Have we done the objective here now?
That's right, you don't need me.
My
What?
communications are blocked.
What's the objective here?
I think I have to do something around here.
Destroy Cyborg AA.
Yeah, this one.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm going to try and not shoot you. Oh, I'm just going to
Just stand on you
stomp
instead.
on you instead. Okay, that's rebooting.
But yeah, it's that's good. That's it. That's interesting. Hope we've fielded that.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything you wanted to discuss, Phil? Any topics? No?
I don't know.
No? I mean, what have you been playing? Have you been playing much? You've obviously not been playing this. How were you getting on with The Witcher?
I've stopped.
Oh no! Why?
Because I've not got enough time to do a lot of things.
Oh, that.
And one of the things is The Witcher, and I cannot be fucked with fighting that goddamn fetus. Like,
That's going to be the
I've got
tagline for the
myself-
podcast, by the way.
I've got myself in this situation where basically it's saved in that fight, well, where I can either fight the fetus or pick up the fetus and fight all them goddamn spirits, and I've got nothing to get me health back. And it's
You-
just
you need to start crafting.
thinking about it. You know that question about games getting easier?
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Oh, come on! So, yeah. I swear, like,
time.
the pods are dropping in different places to where the pad is.
Yeah, I purposefully, the last time I dropped that suit, stood nowhere near the little blue thing I threw, and it dropped directly on me. Fucking trolling.
Yeah. Bring me back in when you get a chance.
It's we're blocked again.
Okay, so is there like a
Maybe right
time
now.
limit on that, or?
Done it. We've done it. We've done it.
Okay, cool. There's no bullets in that film. L2 will fire some missiles, but don't blow John up.
Oh, don't say that. Makes it so much more tempting.
I kind of want to finish this mission at some point.
We could talk about the Doom's about to come out.
Yeah.
Quite quiet on the radar has Doom.
Yeah, I think it's sort of been coming out for months, hasn't it? I'm sure they announced like a whole thing for it, and then there was Wolfenstein: The New Order had a beta code in it for
Yeah,
it.
I had the beta code, but I never knew when it came out.
I think
has it been?
the beta's only just been or was just started, and it's like the Wolfenstein New Order came out a long time ago, and there's been another Wolfenstein game since. You know, it's almost like they mismarketed it a little bit.
Fuck's sake.
There's lava there, Phil. I'm going to make a compilation of all the times you run into lava. But yeah, so Doom, I mean, to me, that's a much more appealing first-person shooter than Call of Duty or
Why
anything
would
like
you
that.
spawn me there?
Because you have to think a lot more. It's not just run and gun. You sort of got you've got a lot more to do. And
You threw the respawn thing right in the lava, so I landed in the lava. As soon as I climbed out, I was on fire.
well, don't climb out. Just stay dead.
Oh, I'm not very good at this game.
It's okay. You need to play it more. You need to get a Vita and play it at work. So another gripe I have about this
I'll
game,
go down too well.
something that's really starting to annoy me, is every time you get set on fire, if you dive, does it set you out?
Yes.
Right, okay. I was just thinking, because every time I get set on fire, it's like I'm guaranteed to get knocked down.
Yeah, you dive on the floor, it puts you out.
Ah, makes sense. They probably explained that at some point, but I skipped it. That's normally what happens.
Well, I like how you answered your own question anyway.
Well, as I was saying it, I thought about it, and I was like, well, that would make sense.
Oh, we haven't actually done that other objective I said that we'd done. Gotta get
Ah.
back.
Right, okay. Maybe this is the point of the podcast where we concentrate on this objective, so we actually get it done. We'll get some turrets down or something.
It's fine. We've got a while to kill yet.
We could, well,
We could.
yeah.
Yeah, we could. You're not wrong. So I guess one thing we're all excited for, which about 2 or 3 podcasts ago I said was going to be a flop, is The Division.
I totally gave it the flop as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I did, but they've done it. They've managed to put some hype in me. I am slightly hyped.
So
Overhyped though, are you?
I think I might be.
I think I definitely am.
I think I might be. I've got. I mean, when this beta comes out, I think this open beta, I think I'm really gonna suffer.
So open beta starts on the 18th for Xbox One, one day earlier before the PS4 and the
19th,
PC. Yeah, PS4 and the PC starts on the 19th. So Xbox won't get it for another day. I'm guessing that's just an exclusivity deal.
So I threw something down, and it's now counting down to an explosion.
Oh,
Where did you throw it?
yeah. Well,
Right.
you need to go over. Oh, yeah, that's not good. So don't
What
press.
is- what did I
Do not run over and press X on it, because it will give us about 5 seconds. It's basically like an atomic bomb. If you press X on it, it will set it off, and we'll have about 5 seconds to get away. Oh, it's gone anyway.
Whoops.
It's just like, I've just thrown an atomic
Is there
bomb.
Is there more generators to disable or something?
fuck's
Because
sake.
I've just done that 3 times and that hasn't done it. Am I not doing something?
I don't know. I've just died.
Just-
Clue.
Oh, I'm just thinking, is this thing... So when we get our signal jammed, maybe what Phil just did was right. Do we have to disable this generator, which is blocking the signal, and then drop an atomic bomb, activate it, and leg it? Do you see what I mean?
I don't know.
I did a good.
I did a good
Possibly.
thing.
Yeah, because I guess, are you not able to press L1 near that thing?
No.
Yeah, I'm guessing what we have to do is activate that, and then that gives us enough time to get a bomb down.
Oh, as it's rebooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
And then that's how we blow up the AA. So Phil was almost right. Accidentally. He trusted the nuke with the new guy.
Okay, so. Right.
These
That's
are
updating now.
cool. So can we... Yeah, so now we can get onto our thing. So now we're all about to throw a nuke down. Communication. This is going to be big. Right, so as soon as we've activated one of these, Phil, leg
no.
it.
It's not. How long is it till they come in? Oh, well, it's not gonna.
In top
they haven't
left,
got it in
we've got 10
time.
seconds. Oh bollocks! I just dived on my own grenade.
What did you do? What did you do?
Oh no.
I pressed square to set myself out of fire, and
Dive,
pressed
Ross,
L2 at the
dive.
same time by accident.
No. Communications are blocked again.
Run!
Dive. Just blow them up anyway. Go
Yeah.
go touch one and blow it up anyway.
Run!
Dive!
It's
Run!
gonna kill you.
Oh, that was so close.
Jesus.
That was pretty tight.
Nice.
Talk about clutch, just like, it's almost like I'm the cool guy walking away from the explosion, but I dive too soon, and then it's like, oh no, I've got to get up and run a bit further. Oh, that was pretty clutch.
Right, now I've got to extract.
Right, let's finish this. Lava Phil. I say that, and we're the ones that get
Set
caught.
yourselves on fire.
Right, which way is extraction? Phil, get on your map. Extraction.
I can't read the map. I've not done... What? This way? Possibly?
It should be the last thing that's lit up. It's like an arrow. The lava. Oh, this guy.
Why?
I can't bring you back yet.
So what are you most looking forward to about the Division, possibly?
The multiplayer, the sort of, not necessarily the PvP, but just being in a persistent environment with friends. I like that, and
Yeah.
looting. I love any game that I can grind for loot. Like, I'm a bit of a
Loot system.
sucker when it comes to like finding shinier pants.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking
Fancy.
forward to sort of going around with you guys and actually sort of just crawling through places, looking for things to find, and sharing loot and the stories as well. The stories that come out of that
Yeah.
kind of game. So me and Phil played
It's-
DayZ quite a lot, and I feel like it's going to have a similar vibe to that, where you'll be like, oh yeah, and then we went to this place, and then this happened, and it was amazing. Remember when you got hunted down by that rogue agent, and and you'll have all these stories come off it, which will be really cool.
Yeah. From what I've seen, and from what you've had an alpha, a closed alpha, and a closed beta, and judging on the things that I've seen from that, no one's turned around and said this game's horrific. Not
No,
one person.
no.
And
As I say, the PC
I
players
think
sort of ruined it for themselves with their hacks, but that's just PC for you.
I just all power to him, but I can't see me ever getting a high. The hell?
It's okay, he's
I
gone
can't ever see
mad.
me-
It's put him out his misery.
I can't ever see myself getting a
high-end
high-end
PC.
Just doing that sort of stuff.
It wouldn't be a Helldivers. Oh well, there's gonna be two of you now.
Got nailed as well.
It wouldn't be a Helldivers cast if we didn't kill Phil at least once. Right, the ships.
Helldivers.
Helldivers. Oh, this stupid turret.
Oh,
Right, let's just get on the ship
see it.
before we ruin it for
When did you
ourselves.
say the Division beta is?
So it starts on the PS4 on the 19th.
19th, yeah, 19th.
Cool.
Cool. And I don't know if it's still the plan, but I was going to head to yours on the Saturday, Phil. If that's cool. And then chill out and play games all day. You died 8 times.
Hi, I wonder why.
Lava.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with like me being level 4. It's literally just fucking lava.
Oh, you're right. You're level 5 now. Shut up. Yeah, so is the Division going to work? That's my question.
No.
Is it going to work in terms of, not technically, but is the sort of, so like Destiny technically worked, technically fairly sound, but I wouldn't say it worked because it's not held people. Do you think people will still be playing the Division in a year's time, or do you think it will be replaced?
I think that purely comes down to their ability to keep community challenges, daily challenges, and all that sort of stuff that it's going to have. It's got to keep them interested and engaging, because the ones on Destiny are just shit. Those
Yeah.
bounties, man. Once you've done one set of bounties, and the thing is, there's not even any kit worth grinding for. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Um,
So they've got to keep
so
it fresh. I think that's important. They've got to keep it updated and fresh. Otherwise, people will find the best loot in 6 months and then not care about it.
yeah, basically, they just need to. It's the gaming community is very fickle these days.
Yeah.
And it literally it needs to be constantly reinforced and sort of kept happy with shininess and sparkles and glittery things.
Yeah.
Because as soon as anything starts getting slightly mundane, everyone just turns off, and it's because something new comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, I went on. Everyone that listens to these podcasts know that I literally just suck the balls off the Battlefront. But recently,
Literally.
but recently, especially since streaming older games and with playing The Last of Us and everything, like I went back on Battlefront and I was just like, ugh, this is just
Old now.
no, I like it, but it's like, then it made me think, well, they're really going to struggle now if all these brand new games coming out. They're really going to struggle now if they can't sort of
Do
this next
something
update
new.
is shit. If this next update's shit, they're done. Star
Game
Wars,
over. Yeah.
it ain't gonna be in the shops much longer. I mean, it is, but it's not going to be like it has been for the last sort of 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, I saw just
they needed to bring that game out. They needed to bring that game out in like August
yeah.
to fully deal with the amount of hype it would generate and I'm not going to go into their business strategies again because we've done this before, but
Yeah.
I just think with games like The Division, Hitman, Doom, we're talking some big AAA titles coming out. In fact, this is probably the biggest release month that the PlayStation 4's ever had.
Yeah, in terms of big franchises releasing their latest sort of iteration. As you say, Doom's obviously one of the classics. It's sort of part of gaming history.
Yeah, and
FPS history.
that'll go straight into the multiplayer. The multiplayer would be why people play that game, unless you can co-op. I don't know if can you co-op.
I think there is co-op. I saw a Let's Play video on YouTube from Achievement Hunter, which is co-op Doom. I don't know what that entails, whether they've spoofed something or whether it's actually a co-op game mode.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Cool. We've got to keep heading down the screen towards me, guys. We're almost there.
I think the way games seem to be moving nowadays, it is more towards 4-player co-op. It seems to be the new medium.
Yeah, co-op couch. It's the way forward. It's getting a few beers in with your mates and sitting in the same room, or even sort of party chat like this. But it's the best way to play games, without a doubt.
Well, Battlefront is much better with friends.
Yeah.
This is much better with friends. We're at a point now where I mean, when was the last in your opinion, the last majorly engaging single player story that you played on your own, that you had to play on your own, that didn't have any option?
That's a good question.
It was for me as well. It was The Last of Us.
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, this is going to sound like a really lame option compared to The Last of Us, but I really enjoyed Wolfenstein: The New Order, and that's purely single player. There's no.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I'm pretty sure there's no multiplayer. At least by the time I got to it, there was no multiplayer scene for it, but pretty sure that's just a single player game. I really enjoyed it, and the story's about super Nazi concrete and a lunar base and all that, but I really enjoyed it, and I think it's credit to a game nowadays being single player only. But I think you're right, it very rarely happens. You very rarely find a single player game that is worth the same amount of time as something that's got co-op or at least a multiplayer element to it.
Well, the thing is, why didn't Battlefront have a single player campaign? Because obviously at some point, I say obviously, there's nothing obvious in the gaming world, but it's all smoke and mirrors. But at some point, a census would have been done, and they would have said, okay, what sort of games do you like to play? And everyone would have gone multiplayer.
Yeah, or at least.
Okay, so
does it have to have multiplayer in the game?
yeah,
You know, it's...
yeah, and what they would have done is they've said, okay, so how many people? They would look at their little check sheets. How many people have played hardline single player campaign against how many people have played the multiplayer? And same with Battlefield 4, and basically all them first person games. And they would have gone. So people aren't really asked about a single player game.
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
we'll just make a multiplayer game then, and then everyone just obviously lost their shit because you're taking away their entitlement.
Yeah, I mean, look at Black Ops 3 on the Last Generation. Doesn't have a single player campaign. The game has a single player campaign, but just the Last Generation console version doesn't.
Yeah, because they figured it's hard to port a single player game, but you can port multiplayer because it just follows the same rules as the others. You can just downgrade the graphics.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. Well, I'm by no means a game developer, but I can imagine it's a lot easier to port a multiplayer than it is a single player.
Yeah, I think they gave some really lame
hardware limitations.
They gave a really lame excuse for it as well. I can't remember what it was, but
probably because not enough people would buy it.
yeah.
One, it doesn't,
Well,
it comes at the end of the day. It all comes down to money at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Battlefield probably set the nails in the coffin for Battlefront ever having a single player campaign.
Just
because
it was
the
so
amount of people that
ridiculously
moaned
terrible.
at it, like, I mean, it was crap, so
It was
they
shit.
rightfully moaned about it.
Battlefield 4, I actually really like Battlefield 3 story. A lot of people don't, but I do.
Yeah, I
thought
like
it was
the
good.
story, but the gameplay single player was just it wasn't fun. I was just following like waypoints, just blindly shooting. Like, it's just got nothing to it.
Yeah.
But the story, yeah, I loved it. As I think I mentioned before, because it was Andy McNabb who wrote it. Oh, fuck, I can't spawn you guys in yet, and I've got no ammo, and I'm so fucked.
Just keep running. It's fine. Well, that went well.
That was quite savage.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think they've got to a point now where a lot of games are becoming more multiplayer orientated than they perhaps should. And that's sort of going to be a shame because obviously games originally were only single player, and it would be a shame to lose that sort of single player. Almost, I don't know, like that almost big part of gaming. Is the campaigns. If they just get replaced with co-op online, that is sort of like a campaign. If you get me, if it ever gets replaced, it'll be a great shame.
Well, look at what the way things when they've tried to do something really unique and sort of with the when they try and define a genre, like for example in Assassin's Creed Unity, not only was the game a horrible broken mess from the start, but the co-op aspect of it, although technically that could have been a whole new sort of avenue for the Assassin's Creed series to go down, it ended up being a bag of shit.
Mm. Yeah, and again, I think there becomes a problem sometimes when they spread themselves too thin. When they try and get a single player campaign, a co-op campaign, and a multiplayer, into one game, they sort of spread the ground a bit too thin. Yeah, so a couple of things.
I think.
Sorry, yeah, you carry on.
No, go on.
No, I was going to segue away. So if you've got a point.
Well, I was just going to say, I think if the Division does this well, it will bring back an element that I think's been missing from games, especially for the start of this current generation. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I had a nice image of Russ just driving away on a Segway a minute ago.
I wheeled up with a Segway and then just like U-turned and went back. It's like no Segway. But no, so something I saw today, which is quite exciting actually. I really like Lego games. I really like Lego. The new Lego Star Wars game is Episode 7, The Force Awakens, and there's quite a lot of content in this new Lego game. Actually, is lore and it's canon, and it bridges the gap of the 30 years between 6 and 7. So the Star Wars Lego game's obviously been given some story to follow, and they've actually got mini cutscenes and things, and obviously they are limited because it's a Lego game, but they're going to be, as I say, like sort of bridging some story between the two, and I think that's really cool. I quite like that.
Well, that's crazy considering the amount of games that they just cut and said weren't canon anymore.
Yeah.
They're now giving it to a Lego game.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty cool.
I think the Lego franchise is very entertaining, but I don't think it's the sort of thing where you start carrying on the new universe that they're creating. I think they could have done that in fucking Battlefront.
Yeah. I think my sort of initial reaction to that is they're obviously wanting kids to be more engaged with the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, obviously, Star Wars is a very old franchise, so it's sort of, a lot of kids have missed Star Wars. They've obviously been excited for this one, but like sort of younger kids who perhaps wouldn't have been old enough to go to the cinema and watch this one because they were, I don't know what the age rating was, but
it was 12. But you could go in with, like, as long as you were like, if you go in with like a family member, I mean,
12A.
12A.
No, well, my brother took his 4-year-old kid in. I mean, I took my 9-year-old niece in. So yeah, it's not like, you're not walking them into like Apocalypse Now, right?
You weren't there, man. You weren't there.
I can't remember what they were called, but they're massive fucking like teeth things on the
Oh
ship.
yeah,
Ragnar's?
Something. Yeah, Han Solo was hoarding them, wasn't he, or he was smuggling them.
Raftars.
Han Yolo.
Han Yolo. Yeah, so I think they're putting it into the Star Wars games to sort of get kids more involved with Star Wars, and to be honest, it's going to sell more Lego Star Wars games because people are going to want to know, any slither of information they can get about the Star Wars universe. Everyone wants to know, so yeah, I think that's going to be cool.
Strange. That's a strange outlet, but still it's better than nothing, I suppose.
Yeah, and you got to think Star Wars now being Disney, they're obviously they quite enjoy appealing to children. That's what they do. So.
Yeah, of course.
They've already got a lot.
Plus, on the back of that, it'll just sell a fuckload more Lego, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I just realised, John, your mech's like upgraded and bigger and way better.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fine.
So casual about it. Yeah, it's right. It's my weekend mech. I need to go this way. So one thing I've realised with this, which is kind of annoying, is the camera locks to the host, so I can't leave the screen. And I found a couple of times you've walked off and I've sort of been stuck off camera. I don't really get why we can't have our own camera, but I'm at the wrong thing. It's this way.
Isn't this where we started?
Yeah. So it's down here. Not paying any attention.
Fuck you.
There we go.
Cool.
Right, is that it? Are we? Oh, there's one more box, but we can go. Oh no, yeah, we've got a few more bits to do.
Ow.
Oh, you can't.
It's okay, just spawn me in at the box.
True.
At the next thing.
Whoa! That's not cool. Wait, what's even happened? No.
Why have you got out? Okay, yeah, walk to the next box then, and then spawn us back in there. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, so
the maximum time for my cam stopped, so it stopped recording.
oh, okay,
That's okay.
fair enough. We'll just loop it.
We have
It's
been
fine.
we have been going quite well.
Yeah,
8
yeah.
minutes and 37 seconds.
I've just had an alert on
yeah.
my Surface to let me know that I'm running out of space, so this might be a hard cut for the podcast. Have you guys seen
To be
much
fair,
for the? Sorry, yeah, go on.
I was going to say we could just cut and edit and just bring the points where we've not really got anything, we haven't really spoke about much, but then brought something else up. We could just put that and stick them together,
Yeah, I'll work something out.
like with a bit of with a bit of a fade or something. Whoa, where am I going?
Have you guys seen much for The Witness?
No, I saw it advertised.
It looks really cool.
Sure.
I've watched quite a bit of
I'm-
gameplay for it.
And I thought it was that Firewatch to start with. But...
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that happens, isn't it?
Oh my god.
It's weird how that happens. That you get to a point where like two games come out at a similar time and they resemble each other very well. I remember that happened with Prototype and Infamous. Like they came out at a similar time and people always got confused between the two because it was two sort of superhero games coming out at a similar time.
I think they were both good games. I think I lent more for Infamous though than I did for Prototype, but
Yeah, I mean I really enjoyed Prototype, but that's just because it was gory and crazy. But yeah. So we're nowhere near the box. We're just rambling now. Right, let's get this mission.
How are you guys set for potentially looking at something like Rainbow Six?
What do you mean for Siege?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to get it. I've played it and it's good fun. I've watched a lot of YouTube on it. So, Phil, what are you doing? You just shot me and then walked over me.
Do you want to Do you want to get a respawn out for me?
Yeah.
We're all gonna.
Yeah, I think this is it.
It's up to you, Ross. It's
So now
it's up to you, Phil.
yeah, I'm just gonna take it. I'm giving up. I'm gonna end the podcast on a low of dying outside the base. So, but yeah, I think we'll bring it to an end there because all our PCs are about to explode. So, so yeah, I mean, thanks for watching. I hope this sort of version of the podcast works well, and I'd quite like to do it more often. So to find out more about us and what we do, head over to recmedia.com. Head over to Rec Media's channel. John, do you want to hype your stuff up?
Yeah, as always, I hype it, pump it. So as always, you can contact us on Twitter at Degenerate Gamers. We're also on YouTube under the same name, Degenerate Gamers, and on Facebook as well. We've got weekly streams and daily content on the YouTube channel. Check it out.
Cool. Okay, so for more from us, say check out our channels, and if you want to know how to play more Helldivers, definitely don't watch this gameplay. So, see you next time. Bye.